Shout out to the content creator right over here to the left of me. He goes by the name of Corey Jones. Now, Corey is up on YouTube, and I'll leave a link to his video down in the description box down below in case you guys want to see the totality of his video without my thoughts. It's a great video. But I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention to not only help him as well as anyone out there that's going through what Corey has gone through. Now, Corey is a lifelong corporate guy. He started out in 2018 working at Deloitte, then moved to Accenture, okay, big four consulting firms, and then moved to Google, all in like a HR, human resources type of position. Now, the video that we're about to go over, he's speaking about the bullying or the biases that his female manager had, which then derailed his career. So I want to be able to talk about this. You guys may not know this, but prior to being a YouTuber, I was deep within corporate America, first starting my career out at JPMorgan Chase in various analyst roles, then going off to get my MBA. Then I hit the six-figure-a-year club after that at a role at Nationwide Insurance. That's actually the first time I ever talked about that on the channel, but there you go. So within that, I want to be able to talk about this to help this brother and anyone else out there that's going through this. So without further ado.
Like, I'm giving you the visibility. She decided to tell her manager that I wasn't doing no work and that I wasn't serious about my role and things like that. And this is when they started to try to create a plan to get me up out of there. We get to the point to where she's like, okay, for now on, I need you to send me every Friday at 3 p.m. I need you to send me an email recapping everything you've done for the week. I was like, okay, I can do that. So I did that. I think she thought I wouldn't do it. Every single week I'm doing them. Boom. Probably 2 weeks after that is a call on my calendar with her and her manager. I was like, oh man, what's going on? She done wrote up a PIP plan. If y'all don't know a PIP plan, that is a plan for you to improve. And if you don't improve, you get fired. I'm on the call with her and her manager. And she telling me this, and I just feel like this, and da 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 da. It's a lot of I feel like, but it's no I knows or any demonstrations or this and this. It's like I feel like this, and I feel like that, and I feel like you're this, and I feel like. She told me she feel like I don't talk to the team. I don't talk to the team. When I talk to everybody on the team on an individual basis, during team calls, I'm not saying too much because everybody got their own stuff to say. Unless I really need to say it, I'll say it. I'll kiki here and there, but I don't have much to input. Granted, I'm still new anyway. I'm about 2.5 years in at this point. I'm still learning as I go. I'm not trying to be the subject matter expert just yet. I'm still, I'm still doing my thing. And she's saying, well, yeah, I feel like you need to be more outgoing and this and that. I was like, I was so confused. I was so confused at why I was being put on a performance improvement plan because like I said, I had some of the highest numbers on the team. It was crazy. So then I knew they was trying to get me up out of there.
For folks that do not know, getting put on a performance improvement plan or a PIP plan, as what he was referring to it here, and it's different for every organization, but it generally means that yes, they are considering you for termination because of the things that they structure within that PIP plan. If you do not show an improvement in the things that they said that you were deficient in, now whether it's a skills deficiency, a talent deficiency, an effort deficiency, whatever the deficiency is, they can put it within this performance plan. And if you do not improve in a certain amount of time, then it gives them justification to terminate you. You got to also think about that. You can't just fire full-time employees without a justification. Why is that? Well, an employee like himself, especially for him, because he's in HR, so he understands these things, can go back with a lawyer and say, you fired me because of the color of my skin, for example, or whatever the reason that incites some type of bias within management. So her requiring him to write emails on a weekly basis was the start. And when she realized that she couldn't get him there as a reason to get him off of her team, then she began to more than likely lie to her manager in order to get this person signed up to put this brother on a performance plan. But one thing that the brother said that I thought was interesting is that he said he's been there for 2.5 years and that is still new. No, at 2 years, you should be looking at your position, ways to get up out of your position, other companies that has your position so you can upgrade. Now, whether that's upgrading from a work-life balance perspective or it's an upgrade from your salary, right? The best way that you're going to make more salary within a corporate corporate environment is to transition companies, to move companies. So he thinks that he's still new, but I would say at 2 years in, you should start looking somewhere else to go and networking both in your company and as well as outside of your company in order to do so. Could he stay within his position if he had a different manager? He could, absolutely. But especially when you're at these large ass companies with these heavy turnover rates, you should always be ready for something else. Let's go.
So as y'all can see where this is going. So I'm on this performance improvement plan.
Okay.
It went from me having to email her every single week on Friday to every single day at 3 p.m.
That's wild.
I got to email her what I worked on.
That's crazy.
Every single day. So then in the performance improvement plan, it said I need to reach out to teammates even more. So then I had to start keying with everybody on the team. I had to be making small talk. I had to be like, how's your dog doing? How's your kitten doing? Pinging people. Man, I was getting done. I was doing a runaround, bro.
It's called the dog and pony show, or at least I call it that. It's like a political thing that gets done within corporate America. You know, having to like ask the dude over in accounting how his kid's doing. Meanwhile, you don't give a goddamn F about that. But that's how you play the game, is that you act like that you give a F about that. Now, I say that saying that yes, it's a game. Just like in dating. There's the dating game. In corporate America, there's the corporate America game. So I understand all of the criticism when it comes to corporate America. Oh, you have to form fit yourself within something that's not about you. And yes, that is absolutely true. It is very rare to have a company with a corporate culture and you can be outside of that corporate culture and do relatively well. But if they have kind of this overwhelmingly friendliness thing that's baked within to their morals as a company, and the management expects you to abide by that, and you're expected to smile and keep key with people all of the time. If you're not built for that, then know that going in. But I will also say that you can create some real friendship within your corporate office. And that generally is the goal. I mean, you're with these people for so long throughout the day. It would be great if you can also have good relationships, but don't let that be the expectation. Why? Because it's all just business at the end of the day. And you don't want to set yourself up for an expectation that is not within reality. Let's resume.
Oh, let me rewind. Also, after the call with her and her manager, I said, yo, I'm gonna have just a conversation with her manager without her. Yeah. So that's what I did. I had a conversation. The manager's like, I just think that y'all have some communication issues. Honestly, I think that's the main thing. Y'all need to communicate with each other more. And I was like, in our 101s, that's what they're for. I'm communicating with her. I'm telling her what I'm doing. I'm telling her where I'm gonna be. What's going on? What's the results?
She's a micromanager.
I don't know what else I can do in order to communicate. She's not communicating with me. She's not telling me how she feel or what she want me to do or where she feel I need improvement at or where's the feedback or what if she could help me. Like, she's not telling me. So we used to go to our one-on-ones and she didn't have not one bullet point for me. She just waited for me to say something or whatever, and that's it. Which that's okay. But if you have feedback or you have something you need to tell me, you put it on the agenda and we talk about it. But she had nothing. She just came on one-on-one. Hey, how you doing? What you got for me? And I tell her, and that's it. So, yeah, after I had the conversation with her manager was like, yeah, y'all just have communication issues. That's all it is. She was like, I feel like your performance have been great from my point of view. But she's the one that's directly managing you. And it just sounds like y'all have communication issues. And I think that's the main thing. But either way, after the time has passed for my performance improvement plan, I rocked it out. I was good. They ain't had no case to fire me. They ain't had, at the end of it, they kept me because I did everything that I needed to do. I've been doing the same exact stuff that I was doing before I was even put on that plan. So I already knew the plan wasn't going to be to fire me because I'm doing everything that's already on the plan. I wish I would have kept that plan. I thought I did.
Oh, looks like he has it. The purpose of this document is to highlight deficiencies in his performance, which if not addressed will lead to termination of his employment. This document outlines a 30-day action plan to assist him in addressing the development areas that have been previously discussed with him. A weekly checkpoint meeting will be scheduled with the supervisor in order to review his progress. Corey will prepare and present a summary of his accomplishments for the week during the checkpoint meetings. For his improvement, one of the things that they had is communication. He must develop an overall awareness of how his personal style impacts others' perception of him. You know what's so crazy about this is that it's almost the things that she's writing in here is just a dig for for how he deals with the manager specifically. And the thing is like, to have a manager have the ability to be able to do this, but not to provide evidence as to what it is that she's saying, right? Like other people on the team that's saying that, yo, I say hello to him and he just holds his head down and walks the other way. That's probably not it. Some people have a lower communication style, right? They're not for the small talk. Right? They just don't speak a lot. They don't want to participate their lives within conversations. To hold people to that standard is just so damn weird to me. And it's one of the weird things that I found within corporate America. You know, and I've had so many young brothers that I've mentored within my time within corporate America. And I told them to prepare for situations like this. And how was it that you prepare? Well, I said, like, listen, I know that you came in here and you were hired for this role to do these things. That should be 50% of your time. That should be 50% of your effort. They said, well, what do you mean by that? What's the other 50%? The other 50% is that you have to network. You have to get your name out in here, right? You have to meet other people within other organizations, discover other businesses, right? Other things that you can do outside of the thing that you're doing right now, because you just never know. Now, that doesn't mean that with the 50% dedicated towards your work, you still shouldn't be exceeding expectations. Still put 100% within the 50%, if that makes sense. But do not forget to be networking. And then also, do not close ties to the people, the external resources that you were hitting up or that helped you get within this position in the first place. You burned bridges, you cut off all your lifelines. The perception is that he's not interested in his role or being an engaged member of the team. That's so crazy when he has the highest numbers on the damn team. So he must ask questions when tasks or expectations are unclear, engage with lead to ask questions and have meaningful discussions, slow down to read emails thoroughly and answer each question being asked, communicate with leaderships when workload is too large or too small. Yeah. Let's just keep going.
We ended up having a reorg on our recruitment team. Some recruiters got outplaced somewhere else. I got put on a candidate management team. So now I got a new manager. Me and that manager was like, here, we was good. We was good. Everything's good. I was doing my work. One-on-ones went great. Everything was good. I'm finally feeling like I have what I need in order to be good. Thankfully, during this time, I wasn't looking at it. I was looking, but then when we got pivoted to another team, I wasn't looking anymore. But I ended up getting a message from a recruiter on LinkedIn 2 times. One for a contracting role and one for a full-time role.
Okay.
First, it was a contract role. It was like, hey, we got a contract recruiter role. Wouldn't mind you joining the team, yada, yada, yada. Would you be okay having a call? Had to call, was going through the interview process. Then another recruiter reached out for a full-time recruiter role. And I was like, you know something? I'd rather go that route.
Yeah.
And
there's pros and cons in both routes. For folks that don't know, if you're a contractor, you work for the organization that does the contract and not for the company. Right. So if he was getting a contract role at Google, he doesn't work for Google, but he might go into Google offices and he has a set established timeline and goals and projects that he's working on. Now, also within that, because you're not a Google employee, then you don't get benefits. But a lot of time, these contractors, I guess on a per hourly basis, make more money. But also all this pit plan stuff that he's currently doing at his current employer right now wouldn't happen. If they want to terminate you, they just terminate you immediately. And there's little or nothing that you can do about that. But a lot of people like contractor roles because it gives them enhanced flexibility. You're not tied down to the company. And I see a lot of contractors that have 2 contractor jobs and they stay at home so they could do both at the same time. Whether or not that's legal, that's neither here nor there.
You know, both of them at Google. So I was like, shoot, put me on. You know what I'm saying? So went through the interview process with Google, got that, left Accenture. I said deuces to Accenture.
Okay, that's his exit email. Some people saying
end up going
goodbye.
over to Google. And honestly, at Google, this has been the best experience I've had as a black male on a team. And yet I'm still the only black male on the team, one of the few in recruiting, but my experience have been great. My teammates are great. My manager is great. She understands me. I understand her. She know how I can contribute to the team, and she utilized my strengths. And, you know, that's how it's supposed to be. Now, I will say, even with a great experience at Google, I still feel like as a black male, I have to prove myself in, week out. I'm sometimes placed in positions to where I have to prove myself time in and time out. I'm capable. I know what I'm doing.
Here's the thing. You should feel like that no matter if you was a black male, no matter if you was a white male, no matter if you was an Asian American woman. Depending upon where you come from, you should always feel like you have to exceed expectations because of some reason or some way that someone might be disparaging to who it is that you are, where it is that you come from. And oddly enough, you know where a lot of this comes from? It's from DEI initiatives. So if people with the same type of merit and one gets the role because of the color of their skin, then people within the existing role are going to think that they got the role because of the color of their skin. Now, whether or not they did or not, or they were truly a better candidate, the world will never know. But that's where a lot of this perception comes from.
I've been in recruiting for X amount of years. It's only but so many ways you could talk to a candidate, so many ways you could give out an offer, so many ways you can schedule interviews, there's so many ways for you to source candidates, there's so many ways to, like, sometimes some of the information, the things that you do in recruitment is the same, it's just different per role, and you just have to plug in what it is for that role. So for me, the job as a recruiter isn't hard at all. I know what I'm doing. I'm a very personable person. All my candidates love me. My candidate experience rating is high. Like, I know what I'm doing. So like sometimes when I get placed on a different role that I didn't work on, it's like sometimes like micromanaging by people that maybe have been on that team before. That's just been my experience, man. My experience in corporate America as a black male, it's not easy. Day in and day out, you gotta, prove yourself, and especially if you don't fit the mold and what they want you to be. So not technically just the color of your skin, but by the way you talk, by the way you act, by the way you, do your job. Like I always say, I'm a personable recruiter. I'm a laid back recruiter. I'm not about to get on the phone with you and be like, hey, how you doing? And fake it. You know what I'm saying? And candidates love that I'm able to just have a conversation with them, cool, calm, and collected. I'm not forcing them. I'm not, down their throat. I'm not loud. I'm not fully overly excited. Like, we here. Like, I understand what's going on. I've been in your shoes before.
Yeah,
and
he's being real.
Try to get you to the finish line, and that's how it is.
It's such a good point right here that he's bringing up, in a sense that, like, when you bring jobs like this in front of those that don't know much about it within the black community, they think that, but you're changing yourself or you're submitting yourself to the white man, right? Like, that's the things that typically will come up within that. Generally, these people have never worked within corporate America, but they have an ill perception of what it is inside of those four walls. And the truth of the matter is that although he says that he's not, he's being himself, it goes up to a point, because he could very much succeed with the type of demeanor, the way that he talks, his diction, his clarity, the way that he dresses, although he's still being himself. But if he was ashy as hell, his beard was unkempt, every word that he spoke was a cuss word or a slur, or you can barely understand the words that are coming out of his mouth, and he had some weird ass twang on top of that, well, then he definitely wouldn't fit the goddamn mold. What I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of subjectivity into your personality traits in determining what is admissible, not even just in corporate America, but any job ever. But don't come at me talking about you wear your pants off your ass in the building, talking about, hey, yo, what up, ma, during your interview, and then you get mad that you can't still maintain that posture for full-time employment, and then say, well, they just don't like black people. Nah, that shit. They just don't like you and that immature ass behavior. Let's go.
And they always appreciate me because, for one, I respond quickly, and two, I'm personable, and three, I'm not trying to always sell them something and always sound extra excited and things like that. Like, I'm myself, and they appreciate that. I think the role of a recruiter differs. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have your extremely excited people. You're going to have your people that is a laid back. You're going to have your people. Like, it's not one-sided. But I do feel like at Accenture, my manager there was trying to make it one-sided. Like, just because I did things differently and it was successful for me, that means that I'm not doing my job and don't belong in that role. And the way I'm doing is just being me, by the color of my skin, by the way that I talk, and by my demeanor. But the results show
she couldn't handle it.
It's successful. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my team at Google right now, I love my team, man. Everybody is great. Anytime you join a new team, a new company, you definitely got to prove yourself. You got to prove yourself more than others.
With outcomes and results.
That's just my experience, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes what you have on paper, what you've done in the past, people want to see for themselves if you could do that same thing. I don't know how many times I've told people, like, yeah, in my past role, I had to do this, and this don't even compare to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm used to this. I know what I'm doing. Like, cool.
Yeah.
But they don't treat it as such. They want to see that, oh, he can handle that. He's capable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they want to know you're competent.
That is, you know, sometimes the challenge, man, in corporate America. But yeah, like I said, I enjoy my job. I enjoy working at Google. Great team. And out of all the companies that I've worked at, I haven't had an experience where I felt like I've been discriminated against or there's been any bias at Google. So I do appreciate how they've outlined the culture and how they've embraced me, especially my team, my managers. It's been wonderful. So I'm glad that I'm at a place coming up on 3 years at Google, but I'm at a place that I can be myself, be truly human, transparent, and I don't have to fake it. Like, I don't have to fake the funk. I don't have to fake like I'm overly excited. I don't have to have small chat all the time, small talk. I don't have to key. Everybody just respect what you bring to the table. They respect you for being you, bringing your authenticity, being truly human, and not having to switch up. And, you know, switching up is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the reason
You know what? Shout out to this brother right here. Last thing that I wanted to say about this. Again, I'll leave this video down in the description box down below if you guys want to check out his entire channel. Fantastic content creator. If I was to take a guess here, I would say that this brother did experience a bias from his last manager, and this last manager expected him to lick her feet, and he refused to do so. Some of these managers want you to submit to them, complete and utter submission, and do things the exact same way that they would have had done. Meanwhile, you got your own style. You have your own ways of identifying solutions to problems or just getting things done. Now, what if I would have done differently in this situation is that, remember he said he had a one-off conversation with his manager's manager? The thing is, so that's called a skip level meeting, right? My thing is that when I was in corporate America, I would be thinking about, like, strategically, like, battlefield, like a war zone. like, okay, well, if this is my manager and then these are the three adjacent managers I'm dealing with, who's above them, right? And then who's above them have the most influence. I want to try to schedule skip level meetings with that. And it could be like once a quarter. And I can set it up that this can be like a mentorship position. Because here's the thing is that his previous manager, there wasn't a system of accountability for her claims. For her to be claiming these different types of things, but then not show direct proof and or evidence of his behavior or even able to show that to his skip level manager, I think is a little bit ridiculous. But because there was no pressure on her, she is not incentivized to provide that type of data or information. And she doesn't receive any pressure or pushback in potentially bullying someone who she is managing. And that's the first thing that I would suggest most people do when they get into corporate America is to see who's up on top, who can you schedule meetings with, and within that scheduling, you're looking to see perhaps mentorship if they have time, and a lot of people don't. But if not, then the goal there is sponsorship, which is much different than mentorship. Mentorship, they're teaching something for you. Sponsorship, they speak well about you within rooms that you are not in. And honestly, sponsorship can be worth infinitely more than mentorship, because at the end of the day, it's not about what you know to get that promotion. A lot of the times it's about who you know. And also that sponsorship can aid you in case things go wrong. They can help put a bug in another manager's ear that's on another team. They don't want to lose you as a talent. All right, guys, but I want you to drop your comments down below. Have you guys been in a position where you were the employee and a manager was all up on your case, wrote up performance plans? And I don't care if you're white collar or if you're blue collar. I want to see all you guys' responses down below. And let me know what you have done differently within this situation in order to hedge your risk. It sounds like her being a burden to him inevitably was a blessing in disguise, because it positioned him when the time was right to accept that full-time position at Google, which now he's been at for 3 years and sounds like that he's thriving in. Now imagine if he ended up getting down bad regarding the PIP plan and what his manager was putting him through, and he lost his confidence. He lost the sense of who he was, and he wasn't able to bring in who he was into interviews within the next position in order to go somewhere else. And really the lesson within all of that is not about the type of person that you are when you taking the loss so much as it is what do you do after the loss is incurred. Shout out again to this brother. Link down in the description. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Leave me your comments down below. Until next time, you two. Peace.